Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good afternoon. The Transportation Committee is open. Today is Wednesday, September 11th, 4:02 p.m. And I would like to have a roll call.
Rhonda Pendell Charles here.
All right.
Alderman Rob Savage, present.
All right. Alderwoman Karma O'Neill is present. All are present. Is there an approval of today's agenda?
I move that the agenda be approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Agenda approved. We have minutes from 6/12/24. Is there a motion to approve 6/12/24? Did I say so?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. First item on our agenda are a series of appointments, starting with AP 1924, Tara Ashmore Transportation Board. Tara's here.
Hi.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Nice to meet you in person.
Very nice to meet you. Do you want to say a few things about your reappointment to the Transportation Board?
No, I've enjoyed my time on the board. I hope I've proved myself a contributor. I've been acting as secretary.
Excuse me, could you just state your name
Oh, sure.
and address for the record?
Ashmore, T-A-R-A-A-S-H-M-O-R-E.
Thank you.
Do you want me to repeat that? So I have enjoyed my time on the Transportation Board. I think I've been a contributing member. I've been doing secretarial work, doing all the minutes and notes. And also I weighed in this year on the commuter bus issue and submitted comments for the group on that behalf.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Any questions?
No questions.
Any questions?
Do you have anything that you are hoping to get back to work on, or any specific
I'm looking
goals for
forward
the
to
next?
Kurt setting the agenda. I would say my forte is really more finance, so I don't necessarily take a lead on some of these issues. I think there are some people on the board that are, I don't want to say more passionate, but perhaps have a deeper understanding of some of the transportation issues. I happen to work at Amtrak, and I had worked at
Oh.
Avis, so that's sort of my tie-in.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So do we have a motion for a favorable recommendation for a reappointment of Tara Ashmore?
Like to move the favorable recommendation for Tara Ashmore.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion approved. Next up on our agenda is AP 2024, reappointment Mr. Tom Schock, Transportation Board.
Mr. Schock is not available, and he has informed me that he plans to step down at the end of the year, so we will let him continue to serve as until replaced, and we'll start seeking a new person for that position.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
How many years was he on the?
Tom, 3 years. Yeah, 1 term. He's on his first term.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. What do we want to do with that? Recommendation?
Well, he's
Yeah, you don't need to.
no action.
No action? Okay. All right. Next up on our agenda is AP 2124, Mr. Forrest Landa, Transportation Board. And please correct me if I said your name wrong.
No, you said it perfectly. It's all good. Thank you. Lovely to be here. Good afternoon.
I need you to state your name and
Yeah.
address for the record,
Okay,
please.
my name is Forrest Londa, Forest-Landa, and I live at 23 Dorchester Court, Annapolis, Maryland, 21403.
I used to live at 19.
Okay, all right. So
Many
right
years
down,
ago.
right down the road from me.
Yes. Do you want to say a few things about your?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm sure the council know me from their nights at McGarvey's after their committee meetings. I have been seeking opportunities to get involved with the city government for a while. Having spoken with Gavin in the past, shown a passion for it. I've attended a couple of the meetings that we've had in terms of the parking situation in Annapolis, but haven't been able to attend as many as I would have liked. But I am very much looking forward to being involved with the Transportation Committee. I think when the process of finding a committee for me was started, transportation was one that I had highlighted pretty heavily because I know it is a hot topic in Annapolis. And I am somebody who enjoys a challenge and enjoys being around the topics that people want fixed. And so seeing how much is talked about every time there's an article, that when the ferry articles came out on I in Annapolis and the way people reacted to that, I like to be in the middle of that and figuring out a way that we can find a solution, because there are ideas that are great and there's ways that we can implement them, and we need people to see that. So I would love to be a part of that catalyst.
Great. Other questions? Alderman Savage?
Just a comment, Mr. Orlando, I'm reading over your interest in serving on the board. I find it important to hold conversations and to listen to other residents of the city. Our community is made by the sum of our individuals. It is a principle they feel heard, and I like that. So wonderful that you've decided to join one of our boards and commissions, and we're grateful to have your volunteerism.
Thank you. I very much appreciate that.
Yeah, and thank you. And you are live in Ward 7,
Yep.
so I would love to, I'll reach out to you. I'd love to sit down and chat with you more, because I'm proposing a number of transportation-related improvements to Ward 7.
Excellent.
And beyond. And so I would like to try to get those to the commission as a whole as well. So, but maybe you could help me do that, which would be
Happy
wonderful.
to do so. Happy to do so, absolutely.
And what other kind of, do you have any other particular goals in mind, or for your term here, or are you looking to just kind of get the lay of the land first?
I think in the short term, it's getting the lay of the land. It's understanding how the committee works, the issues that we're going to be presented, and what influence we have on them. In the long term, I definitely want to learn to exert my influence, learn what we are capable of and what we can move forward with. I do have a pretty vested interest in getting into politics myself in the long term. So getting myself ingrained in this and being a part of it and being in the middle of it, not being somebody who's on the outside looking in, but somebody who's in there and influencing change is a big part of me. It's why I work in downtown Annapolis. I've worked at McGarvey's for 3 years now. I like to be around movers and shakers. And so it's big for me to be there and be in the middle of it. And you know, I feel like I've said that statement 3 or 4 times now in the times that I've spoken, but it is something that's important to me. And so getting my feet on the ground and learning, and then being able to step forward and get the confidence to be able to voice my opinion and be a part of it and influence that change is very important for me.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We appreciate you coming in today. Thank you
course.
so much.
No problem, of course.
Is there a motion for consideration to the council?
I move favorable recommendation.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you. Welcome. Next up is AP 2224, appointment Mr. Robert Madden, Transportation Board. Thank you for coming in, sir. Can you state your name and address for the record?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wrong.
My apologies. I saw somebody come in and thought that I hadn't met Mr. Madden in person yet. Mr. Madden is not present. I'd ask you to keep it open on the agenda in case he shows up a little bit later, and otherwise, please reschedule for the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that.
I will move to, I guess, just table for the moment.
Table decision? Okay.
Okay.
Is there a second on that?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Table it. All right. Moving right along, next is our general discussion, ID 1124, Transportation Board Update with Kurt Riegel.
Good afternoon, Kurt Riegel, Chairman of the Transportation Board. My presentation will be mercifully short since we've been on holiday and our brains are not working very well just yet. I hope yours are. I had the pleasure of visiting the Netherlands last month and will if you have time, perhaps at the next meeting, I may spend just a couple of minutes on some transportation conclusions that I paid very close attention to while I was there. It's fantastic. And if we could implement only 10% of it, we would be way ahead of where we are now. But I'll postpone that for another time. We're working on an update to our prior parking recommendations and hope to send you that within the next 2 weeks. And that's all I have.
Great. I will say that I know that 2 pieces of legislation are getting passed to you from last Monday's meeting. One is the Zone 1 and 2. There was some street changes that the board will be reviewing. And the second one is the towing.
Permit.
Oh.
Renewals
Taxi cab then?
and special residence. Yes.
The permit renewal process. We are talking about moving to a year-round permit renewal, whereas currently in code, all of the residential parking permits renew on July 1. So we're talking about allowing renewals year-round so that if you get your parking in September, it lasts until next September.
Okay,
So
great.
that'll
Wonderful.
come
Looking
before your
forward to
board
it.
as legislation to be looking at.
Looking forward to it. One last thing, I'll just say something that is no surprise to you at all. I've been receiving feedback from multiple sources that the complexity of the parking system is off-putting to the point that many people say they will not come to downtown Annapolis. And this is already very much on your radar, but to the extent that I can emphasize the importance of somehow solving this, I encourage you to do so.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr.
No,
Regal?
thank you, Kurt.
Thank you very much. All right, next up on our discussion is ID 1624, Annapolis Premium Parking, along with our Director of Transportation, Marcus Moore.
Good afternoon, Chair O'Neill and committee members, Alderwoman Kendall, Charles, and Savage. We'd like to present to you a few things today to give you an update from our parking contractors, SP Plus, and Premium Parking. Along with, we have our gentleman here, Mr. Matthew, part of IT Curves, one of the principals there, that's been very instrumental working with us to create the micro transit, our on-demand. So with Matthew and our transportation superintendent, Mr. Parker, we'd like to give you those updates. But first we'll go into, and also our parking program manager, Mr. Vinod Abraham, will just talk briefly about some of our wayfinding signage that we've been working on for a little bit of time now, and just kind of give you an update with that along the way. So without any other further ado, Mr. Jason Parola, Market President with Premium Parking, and I have Mr. John Kemp, Regional Manager with SP. So I think Mr. Parola will start off first with his presentation, followed by Mr. Kemp, and then we'll get into the other specifics that we have here, and any entertaining questions that you might have.
Thank you, Marcus. Jason Parola, Market President for Premium Parking. It's been a while since we've met, so it's quite a bit to go over, but I think at the same time, we've also been able to make a lot of progress and reduce some of the things that we had on these slides for quite a long time prior to when we last met. So on our initiatives and or the update on initiatives, we finished our focus group on September 4th. We had 4 of the participants show up. They were very grateful and had some feedback. They certainly requested that we continue these. I had a conversation with them about that. I think that our first step after wrapping up with them is going to be to reach out to businesses and have a small focus group with them. I don't think it'll be as exhaustive and long-standing as the residential one that we just did. And then after that, I think we're going to look at doing a joint one with both together and sort of allow for a forum where both sort of sides of the business community and the residents can come together, communicate, talk, and I think it'll provide a unique place for them to see the other side in person with each other in a small group and see what comes of that and what ideas we can get from it. With the focus group, the things that we can realize now as outcomes of the group, we've simplified the RPP codes, which we've talked about. They were randomized, but using small words with a number that identified the month that it would be associated with, and then a random number at the end that was 1 to 2 digits, which allowed them to quickly identify what month the code was for, and then to not type in 14 random characters, which I think we all agreed was not ideal at the start, right? We have moved the 15-minute increments for the codes. We had some back and forth our last session about that. This is for on-street parking. So no longer do you have to pay for an hour when you do extend your time or add the codes. And then the ability to stack codes is now live. That was not the case when we last met, but you can use more than one code now when you do use your promo codes. And then not live yet, but in staging and ready to go live is the ability to see how many are left when you use a code. So when you enter the code, you hit submit, it's applied. That confirmation also tells you how many more uses are left out of the number you were issued. And then probably, and I'm hoping by December when we start to issue the annual codes for January 1st, most likely they're going to be also stored to the account at that point. So beginning next RPP season, when we issue the codes, they're just going to be in your account, and you'll be able to drop down and pick the ones that you want to use for the month that you're parking in. And there's a few other things that we're working on, but those are further out. But I think the ability to see what's left, stack them, and of course saving them to the account, not having a note card or pulling up an email when you visit the garage, that's not convenient, and so that should be resolved by then. Okay. Operation notes and updates. We've had 2 mystery shops since we last met. July was a 91.2, and then our August was a 96.2. The August one is a matter of adding a couple signs at the entrances. That's it. And that'll resolve what was missed there. And then half of that 91% in July will also be recovered by adding those signs. So they serve their purpose, and we'll have those in place, I believe, in a week. And then this is our mystery shop trend since we started them in December. And very happy with the results. And you can kind of see a small trend upward as we put signage in place or fix communication, fix the platform a little bit to tweak it for how we use Hillman. Coming soon, starting on the 28th, operationally, we're impacted by the boat show. We'll start reserving streets, shutting down streets with the Transportation Department, Public Works, and that will be for 9 days of the boat show. Between the 2 boat shows, the Power Boat Show and the Sailboat Show, we'll have roughly 100,000 people that attend. The impacts will be on all of the on-street operations and Hillman, but things should be smooth, and we have a good plan in place with Felicia, who's great at communicating how to make sure we get these things set up and coordinated. Most recently, this week, and the end of last week, we were able to work with Medco, our partner, and approve a November night market. It'll be November 1st. So we went through the city, made sure that they were okay with everything, worked with the fire chief to get approval to have the event in the downstairs of the Hillman Garage, the first floor. And then we're going to treat this will be a location rental to Eric Evans with the Downtown Annapolis Partnership. And so they will host and run the event. We'll work with them to make sure they have what they need to successfully do that. It'll be very similar to the farmers market that we had last holiday season. It'll just be a night event on a Friday. So excited about that. And then here I just have a map. This is since we last met. This is our enforcement since we met, just to show the volume and where it's happening. And on the right is a heat map, which is tough to read. The heavy volume. So the way we enforce is we always go through Main Street, Dock Street, and then go off into a residential zone. We'll cover that zone, come back through Main Street, and then we'll go through the garage and then over to District 2. But that's just a map of the enforcement where it's happening. You'll see some odd dots there. That's just the GPS not landing in the right place when it's scan is done.
What are the different colors?
The zones. Good question. So those are zones. So you'll kind of really clearly, you can see District 1 and 2. When you start to get on Dock Street, Main Street, you'll see a few different colors. Market Space, you see the greenish color in there. Those are just scans tied to those zones. They're just smaller and more segmented, so they look odd. For the Hillman garage, for the wait list right now, so the garage itself has 316 active subscriptions. That's up a little bit from July. We were at 302. And then the wait list is at 295 requests for 337 subscriptions. I think that we'll add a few more, not many, but maybe 10 or 20 more through the fall months. There's room for them as the summer ends, and then we'll pull back how many we offer going into the spring as we organically have some people and their monthly passes. And then this is June to August Hillman usage, so you can see your transactions on the top left. On the right, you'll see your duration by hours, your duration of stay, as far as how that lands in the rate band that they're paying for, 1 hour, 2 hour, 34, and 24. When you see the odd ones like the 9, that's an extension that happened on one. And then at the bottom, you see a breakdown of percent for those rate bands as a whole. And then the Hillman usage chart, which Sunday was a real hit last meeting. And this is just showing Hillman transactions, so active sessions, throughout that 3-month period, how many were started during those 3 months, by day of the week and by hour of the day.
Yes.
So is that paid sessions?
Paid
or is
sessions.
or is a session considered anybody who comes in and out of the garage?
This is in the platform they started a session. It's not working off of the space counter, if you will, the signs we have out that show how many. This is active sessions in the garage.
So can I offer a suggestion? It'd be interesting to see just a line chart showing capacity over a month, a week, whatever makes the most sense. One could be the paid and one could be the non-paid.
I can do that.
Just to kind of see comparison. Because I had a question last time about how many unpaid are using it on Sunday for like the free church period.
Yes, it was odd that we have that 6 to 1 p.m., but we're still having so many paid transactions. Yeah. Part of, I think you talked last month about a promo code or suggested one maybe.
Yeah.
Part of the challenge there is that you kind of, once you issue it, you have no control over where it goes from there and who's getting it. So it seems that this is a good solution in having the inactive action in place as far as requiring payment, issuing tickets for not paying on Sundays. But we do have people who come down, because it's meant for churches, right? So we still have people who come to visit us that are making payments and using the system. We're not advertising that the church is parking for free, and in turn, maybe others could. So we're capturing revenue from those that we want to still keep it coming in from, but allowing the churches to have their parking.
No, you can ask.
So just a comment on the codes, I guess, since we're on the topic. I've expressed before how, and I guess that my first question is, what are the code's purposes right now? Because I know there are some for, I think, residents, there's some for on the street when there are codes for guests or somebody has work done on their house. So can you break down the different code purposes that you have?
Yeah, so to my knowledge, we have the Park and Shop is live again.
So what?
Park Shop and Dine.
Oh, mm-hmm.
We have the residential permit, or RPP promo codes, if you will. And then I would have to run an audit and get back to you. I could send you an email, the three of you, and let you know what else is out there. I'm not 100% sure.
So the 2-hour free for resident,
Yes, so those
it's
are,
different than the RR.
yes, correct. So the 2-hour residents, yes.
So I'd still, I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. And, you know, at some point, if I don't hear certain movement, I'll probably try to introduce legislation. But ideally, I really would like to move away from codes. I know in some cases they're needed, and I understand that. But in others, as far as residents, we're asking people to install apps. They have to download an app to use the parking garage, so we get all their information, their credit, their address, their license plate. There's no reason why we can't use license plate readers to determine automatically if somebody is a resident. They automatically get the first, whatever, we can set that by software, first hour or 2 hours free. You can do the same thing with the church. Say, okay, if you're attend this church and download our app, you need to make sure you document that, and that's only going to happen on this set time on Sunday instead of having everybody get a free period on Sunday, target it just to the church based on the license plates registered, and maybe even work with the church on how to get that situated. I think because that's we've consistently heard complaints about the difficulty people have had with codes, and again, I think we have the technology, so I still don't understand why we're not making that shift.
Okay, it's something I will look into.
Okay.
It's certainly not there now. I will tell you that last week, I believe, I had a long call with the president of our company, and he told me to get with product, our CTO, and tell him what I want to make Annapolis run better and be easier on our team so that we're better at running it. So, you know, I don't know what that roadmap would look like and if we could get there, but I will table that and talk to him.
Thank you.
I will say just one note, we do not require somebody to download the app by any means to park. And it's something we intentionally do. You get some locations where you just have stakeholders who don't want you to have their information stored and saved to see what you're doing with other apps on the phone, all of those concerns that some might have. So we give you an option. And typically if you do scan and pay through the browser, which is very quick, I think I did it with the Frederick Chamber of Commerce when they visited, and it was like 14 seconds to make a payment. I have Apple Pay on my phone, so I didn't have to type in a card, but nothing was stored. And then about 5 minutes later, I got a text that said, hey, it'll be more convenient next time if you download the app and save all of this, but you don't have to. So that's kind of a challenge where we don't force you to do that.
So what information do people, I haven't tried that method. What information do people have to give when they pay on the website?
License plate and then a payment card. You just have to make the payment card, but it's not stored.
Okay, so you're still getting license plates?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have a question in regards to that, because if they just use the website, then they don't get the courtesy of the 15 minutes before their time is up. Email, correct?
No, because you will have a phone number in there from the phone you used. So the phone number would be there. I want to double check on that, but I'm almost certain I've done that and gotten the text still when I used it with them. I don't recall.
But the only way currently to get the 2-hour free, if you're a resident, is to download the app. The premium parking app, not
You
just
have,
Park Mobile.
you get the promo code option when you go to pay. You should still be able to. It's just not, now, when we go to the point where they're stored in the account, it will not show up unless you're logged in. That's very accurate to say that, yes.
Okay. One of the questions that I hear most often, and whether this is the appropriate time or not, or wait, but the very question that I get the most often is why, if I have missed my time by 15 minutes, I thought it was going to be 2 hours, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes or 2 hours and 20 minutes, why do I pay $50 and not just for the extra hour?
If you do get the text, and if you get that text and you extend it, you will not get that fine, that citation. Now, I can't stress enough, Hillary hears this all the time, but the most important thing you can do for us on those instances is appeal the ticket so that we have it in the system and can look into the specifics of the ticket. So when you get those, send them to us. I'll ask them for their ticket number. We'll look it up in the system and talk to them and find out. But if there are instances where it's not working well, something we need to look into individually and find out what's going on.
Right. I would prefer, and this is just me, and maybe I'll get my other aldermen to agree, it would be in our citizens' best interest if they went over, they were charged the next hour and not $50. And forget all of this time it takes for the appeal and going back and forth and getting angry. And why is it that I went over by 15 minutes? I was having fun downtown. I didn't have cell service in McGarvey's because they have terrible cell service. I don't know if that's the fact or not. I don't want to throw McGarvey's under the bus, but the number one complaint I get is that $50 fine. And I believe somebody said that they're not going downtown because they're so frustrated. Every single time somebody gets the $50 fine, that's what they tell me. It's not worth it to me. It's not worth it that I have to be constantly checking my phone and I have to be constantly checking the time. And I don't know why our technology should be that you have their information, you have their credit card, it should just charge for the next hour. And most of the time, it's 15, 20 minutes. It's not 3 hours.
No, you're right. Every email we get is not that long. And
Right.
often they've tried to fix it a different way, like they walk outside of Harry Brown's and pay the closest sign they see. They don't realize that it's not attaching to the garage where they're at. I will say that's not a tall ask. I will also table that with our CTO. They do have a permit in the system, so there's an indicator that they fall in this bucket. And then we'll have to all work together on if that can happen and when it does, if we can, codifying that. And I'm sure Medco would have no issue with that either. It makes sense, and it's not really risking revenue or anything. It's just a convenience thing that we could look into.
It's a convenience thing that would go a long way to make 40,000 people happy.
Yeah, we spend probably a combined 10 hours a month on that issue, right?
And I probably spend another 10
Well, yeah,
before they get to you.
Well, yeah,
So-
it's a lot of time for something that's small.
Right. I would like to make that a formal ask, that we have that consideration and explore that as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. I think that's a perfect example of something that falls into the bucket that Ben, our president, told me to
Thank
work
you.
with him to solve.
Thank you.
Yep.
Do you have more for your president? Oh,
No.
I agree with Alderwoman O'Neill. I mean, it's a cost benefit. And the hours that are spent trying to get that all adjusted and fixed and the emails and all of that, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big ask. And so we'll talk about it. You know, there's a roadmap and all of these things that we'll have to figure out, but I don't see why at some point we can't make that work.
Yeah, we're taking up a lot of time dealing with $50 when we could
Yeah.
very well just add the hour and make it work.
Yeah. I'm a parking guy, so
Okay.
I can't see things that he's going to consider that maybe it's a no already, and I don't know. But I'll certainly discuss it.
Okay,
See what we can do.
thank you very much.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Just, so on the, the November night market, could you just share that information with us when you have a flyer, or share it with you may be planning on doing this already, with the city?
Absolutely. Eric is already running full speed with this to work with us in the city to get communication together and put it out. So we will as soon as we can. Absolutely.
Okay, and I would encourage you, both parking companies, SP Plus as well, but to meet with our new alderman from Ward 1. If you don't have that on your radar already, maybe good to reach out, get them briefed.
I do. I will.
All right.
There's a fun Ward 1 email going around right now that
gosh.
he was on, and I almost said hi to him, and I stopped and said, I'll wait and let him sort through this first night of being there himself, or first.
He's received it.
Yeah.
So he told me that.
That's all fixed, by the way.
Good.
Human error.
Thank you. Is there more to your presentation that we cut you off with? Thank you very much for coming out today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Alderman Savage, I believe the November 1 event was the Downtown Partnerships, Eric Evans's event. Like it was last year, it was actually on Halloween, I believe they actually had it. The farmer's market that we made mention about. So it's supported by the city, but it's not a city event there. So we'll get as much information as we can regarding that event.
Okay.
Not sure. We have SP Plus here. They're going to give a little update on the gateless systems that we've already gone through with Park Place, lessons learned, and we're in the process now with GOTS and Knighton.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having us. You'll have to excuse my voice. I'm getting over a small cold. My name's John Kemp, Regional Manager with Metropolis. We are, SP Plus is a subsidiary now of Metropolis. Metropolis acquired SP Plus, and that transaction closed a few months ago. But right around the time we last met, I think. Jason Kinney is our senior manager, our senior leader for all operations in town. He's up here with us as well. So, sorry about that. One of the great benefits that that Annapolis is going to undergo as a result of the merger, if you will, or the acquisition, is that the nature of how we are deploying gateless license plate as the credential technology that exists, of course, in Hillman Garage at Park Place, although under a different brand, is going to be deployed at GOTS and Knighton on the Metropolis platform. So what that means is a bit much more in line with what you had described, Alderman Savage, and that is, so as we all know, monthly parkers, they go in and out. Their license plate is read by the cameras. Transient parkers will have that same experience. So they will enter, they'll have ubiquitous signage in order to scan that QR, set up their transaction. They can add a card if they wish. They don't have to download an app and engage with an app. They can. They'll capture that information one time, license plate and payment. And I think in many cases, as Mr. Prola described, those with Apple or Google Pay, they're not actually ticking away and entering a 16-digit card number and expiration dates. They're just, they've already done that vis-a-vis their phone, their mobile device. Once that's done, they're done. And they're done for every visit they ever make in any Metropolis location. So from that point, now once their card expires, they'll get prompted like we all do, to update that information as it happens. But they'll be able to go in and out of GOTS, in and out of Knighton. It won't have any bearing the amount of time they're selecting. They're not selecting any time. They're just parking and staying as they do today, where they pull a ticket and conclude all the business that they've come to town to conduct, and then they exit. If that's 2 hours, they pay for 2 hours. If it's 4 hours, they pay for 4 hours, etc. The only folks who will get cited are those who don't pay at all. So at that point, just as if you didn't pay the meter on the street, enforcement would take place. That address gets looked up via the license plate and a citation is sent. And then subsequent letters and escalations as codified in Annapolis City Code, that cadence takes place.
Will you be offering the 2-hour free to?
Of course,
city
that's part of
residents?
code, so that's,
And how does that?
So as of now, that works with a single QR code. So you will have a single QR code that will work at all of those locations. All of those being Park Place, Knighton, and GOTS. We will certainly work toward linking that license plate, and I will want to make sure we add this probably to our bi-weekly parking agenda to talk through some of the pros and cons or some of the issues that we need to sort of brainstorm as we do on those phone calls. So we'll make sure we get that added to talk about how to get away from that from a code, whether it's typed in or a QR code in our case, and directly to a license plate like a residential permit. That certainly would be best. We agree.
Do I need to sign up for that QR code?
So today, if you wanted 2 hours free parking in Gotts or Knighton, you would need to engage our office, and we would give you exit tickets. That will take place one more time per year or so per resident, but instead of having to come back and get a replenishment of tickets, you'll have a QR code, or you call and we'll email it to you. It's unique to you, and it's different from mine and different from Mr. Moore's, et cetera. So it can all be done electronically or via email, but
So if I called today, I could park today? If I call at the entrance to the parking garage to get my QR code, could I then use it?
yeah, today, I mean, if you do it right now, probably not. But you couldn't today for Gotts or Knighton either. I mean, you could, I mean, not at 5 o'clock necessarily. Yeah.
So between 9 and 5, I can call?
Yes.
Or-
Well, you could, we're talking about in this new scenario. Yeah, we need our team with access to the back end to be able to create that QR code for you. It only takes a few minutes. But yeah, if we're emailed, or called during business hours, we'll get it sent right out.
Okay. And how are we marketing that? Do we know?
Well, so today, again, we automatically have engagement from the residents who come to get these validations from us. So they're going to do that when we've transitioned this technology. They're going to do that, and we're going to have those QRs ready to go for them. We are going to send out a couple of correspondence, but we don't have every resident's email to necessarily reach out to them for that particular thing. But absolutely, within our deployment or launch communications, there will be information that it encourages residents who use the 2-hour validation to engage our office. We'll generate a QR and email it to them. They don't even need to come. It can all be done via email.
Yeah, additionally to that, with our PIO, we'll figure out some other ways with the cards that we have, the handouts and other things on our website. But we'll try to think outside the box of how do we get to the masses the easiest way, the quickest way, how this all works. So we'll keep thinking forward about it.
The second most popular question I get, besides why am I paying $50 for 15 minutes, is I'm so glad that I can still use my coupons at Gotts, and I would hate for that to go. So,
I'm sure they do. I'm not sure they say that after they've waited because someone jammed their credit card at the exit at Gotts, though, in the line ahead of them. So,
right.
I mean,
No, I totally get that. I'm
Yeah.
just forward-looking that I want to make sure that we're as smooth and
Yep. So we've got the QR, the individualized, the personalized QR code ongoing at Park Place. It's working great, and yeah, folks have taken to it. Some of our experience there, by the way, just as a matter of statistics, and we'll get deeper into that as we have this technology up and running, and are able to share lots of granular stuff as we move ahead. But I will note that there are so we do have a hard card payment option at Park Place. So if you don't want to use your mobile device, you can go engage the multi-space meter as you can here. The number of transactions is extremely low, lower than we would have guessed. There's less than 3% of the transactions at Park Place from transients are done through the meter. So that means more than 97% of the folks are using their mobile device, which is great.
great. Thank you.
So just as far as logistics, we actually have staff, or we have our vendor on site at Knighton Garage today. Conduit's being run. Cameras are going to be up in the next day or two, and then they're going to move right over to Gotts as we have signage ready in the next couple of weeks. We're not taking the gates away, and we are able to do that as a last step. So we have an almost seamless transition. We don't have downtime. Once we're ready with our signage and messaging has gone out, we anticipate, by the end of the month, we'll be able to simply unbolt the gates, unveil the signs, if you will, and the experience will change from one day to the next.
Great. Thank you.
Yep. That's it.
Are Rosie,
Right.
were there questions?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
So while we're waiting for Matthew and Jamar to come up to get their computer plugged in, I want to just give you a little bit of update. I'll have Vinod come up with me for a second too, please. Vinod's going to just give us a little update on what we're working on with Mitchell, our PIO. She's very creative. She has her own sign design shop in her mind. And she's come up with some really nice wayfinding initiatives. You want to come up and plug in? You're going to plug your computer. You don't have to use your computer. He emailed it? Okay. So Vinod was going to go talk about the wayfinding signs that we have, and we have some more that are coming. It's really pretty unique and good what we're actually doing to help guide our visitors, residents, and all about the city. So Vinod, do you want to go there?
Good evening, all the questions. I just want to give a brief overview of what we're doing from the city side as to enhance parking experience for those who visit Annapolis. And we've been working on these wayfinding signs for a month now. And we've already installed some on Duke of Gloucester Street and on Main Street. We hope to have wayfinding signs for all our garages so that it will have a seamless effect for those who come in, that they can find the way to our garages. And this has statistically shown to improve revenues by around 5 to 10%. And with the other technologies that are being implemented currently, as the garages are going gateless, I think they will synergize and bring about a better user experience for those who visit Annapolis and for the residents also. So that's my...
Did you say that has increased revenue by 5 to 10, or you should?
It will in the future. It will once these signs are up. We will be most likely redirecting those who pass by our garages into our garages. So that's the goal.
I like that 5 to 10%.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a really neat one that's coming on the side of City Hall here that's still under review with HPC, right around our sign counter and all. So once that gets approved, we'll be able to take pictures and probably talk about it at our next meeting, be it the parking meeting or at our transportation committee meeting. But as Vinod had made mention, not just the parking of directional wayfinding signs for parking, but it's also other parts of the city. And as you notice, when you're coming down Duke, you'll be able to see what it says as you approach Conduit Street or Main Street, City Hall, the garage. And the sign on the side of the garage will talk about other things within the garage, like, the charging points and things of that nature. Just a better look in trying to redefine, redesign what we had prior to the garage being rebuilt. So remember, we had all these flags and parking here, guiding them all around circles. So trying to get them back downtown in the closer garages, like GOTS. That's pretty much a hidden gem because it's not even a mile away, a half a mile to get to City Dock. So the overflow from Hillman here, because our Friday, Saturday, Sunday is kind of, that's our busiest times, but really trying to look at the options of what we can do with what we have here, the limited space. So we can entertain any questions that you might have on that.
Did you have a question? No.
No.
All right, thank you, Vinod.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what we have here, as I made mention, Mr. Parker, Jamar Parker is our transportation superintendent, and Matthew's one of the principals, the owner of IT Curves that created the software for our use on our micro mobility. And some of you got a chance to write it, and we're really excited about what it's doing and what it has done. We started in July 15th with like a soft start. We ran redundancy with our orange and purple, and we had 30 days to try to guide folks over to it. And what they'll talk about is the platform, how you can do it on the phone, download the app, and how you'll be able to just call our office to make that reservation. And we're finding that that's really a good thing to get to more places that we didn't serve before, or that has no need to go down there every hour or two, but as on demand. And that's really been a win-win with Matthew's company. They really listen to what our supervisors, our residents, and what our employees have been saying. They've done a lot of focus groups, just riding out there and just seeing what's working and what needs to be done. And I'll have Matthew start out, but if any questions, JP will give us some of the statistics of what we've carried, which is well over 1,000 people. It's really been very robust in what we're trying to do as far as, enhancements and growing. Remember, it's a pilot and how we go about it. So Matthew, you want to go with your presentation?
Thank you for inviting us, and thank you for giving us opportunity to be in front of you. Let me start with who IT Curves is, even though it may not be in the agenda. And I apologize.
Could you state your name for the record?
My name is Matthew Mohebbian. I'm the CEO of the IT Curves. And I want to go further to tell you that one interesting thing about IT Curves is that we are a Maryland corporation. Our headquarters and factory R&D center is in Gaithersburg, Maryland. So I only had 1 hour drive to come here for this presentation. When the RFP for this particular pilot came up, I said, this is the capital of our state. I'm not going to let this go anywhere else. So we worked with Annapolis Transit, and we are fortunate enough to win this contract. The program name is chosen, of course, by the transit agency. Let me see whether I can get the, okay. It's Go Time. I was hoping, same as Marcus, that some of you have tried it. Go Time is a micro-mobility, micro-transit. It is what I call a transit service which makes sense. Another set of people I have seen it on the internet defined as Uber that is provided by transit agencies. It is a point-to-point traveling. So you book your trip from the point that you wanted to be picked up to the point that you would like to be dropped off in the mode that is immediate, quick. We try to put you in the next 30 minutes and tell you what time within the next 30 minutes you can be picked up and what time we can drop you off at your destination. Currently, the model is that there are certain about 200 what we call virtual stop, which are the street corners that we tell people to walk. Most often the app tells them to walk 348 feet and guides them to how to walk if, of course, they don't know the area. I'm going to describe the technology a little bit more, but that was just the introduction. The service is called Go Time, and I have talked to some of the riders through focus group and also sometimes just random when we see the comment coming back to us with certain difficulties. Most often they're very excited about it. They compliment the fact that now they don't have to go at a particular stop at a particular time and miss it by a couple of minutes and they have to wait 40 minutes. So to just describe it a little bit more, right now you see on the screen the first, what we call home page. Obviously the picture is Annapolis picture provided by Annapolis Transit. And the next one to it is a picture of a booking. As you notice, there is a start, pick up a stop, drop off a stop, and then destination. And you see a picture of a person walking between a start and pick up. And I also walking between drop and destination. And under it, it says how many minute estimated walk it is and how many feet. And furthermore, when they click on it, just like you see on the map, it actually helps them navigate if they wish to navigate for the walking. So that's a simple process from perspective of booking. This slide actually represents 4 screens of process, the first one we described. One of the things we realized that when we talk to a couple of customers, or riders, I should say, we realize they say we don't know where the stop is. So now we actually we have a little picture next to the stop that if they click on it, they can see and hopefully make a better visualization on where they have to go to pick up the bus. And then the rest of it is when we tell them how long does it take to drop, then they can press continue, and that gets booked, and we meet them, or the driver will meet them at the stop. Driver has a very similar unit in iPad in his car, so we guide the driver also to each stop. We are not describing that because I was mostly on the rider side. One thing we have noticed, and we watched it, right now approximately 50% of the people still call the call center, but we believe over time we can win them over to use more of the app. I'm being sure I'm not describing everything, so you don't need to be worried about it. So this picture shows both app and the office side of the two zones. The service right now is being offered to two zones, the purple zones and an orange zone. Both of them virtually cover most of Annapolis. Purple goes a little bit further, if you notice, the other side of the highway, and on the bottom comes a little bit further south. The design of the zones were by the transit agencies, not our choice. We just offered the way that they can draw the zones if they wish to extend it. It's very easy. You just rubber band, pull the edge over, and introduce another couple of stops. So the dots that you see there are the places that people can go for actual pickup and drop off. Sometimes we notice now people go to the stop and actually book while they're on the stop. These are all possibilities. The point is a very seamless reservation process, and we track you to the pickup, track you to the drop-off. The big deal in here is the ride-sharing part and quickly putting people together in the right direction so that I can pick up multiple people from one part of the city to take them to the mall or mall back. The two zones, if you're interested in more description of them, orange is covering, I wrote most of the city. Kwaku just corrected me to say you should say almost the entire city. It is true. Orange is, as you notice, a pretty large part of the city. Orange has 75 stops that is defined for people to go to it. Service time is designed by the transit agencies Monday to Friday, 5:30 a.m. to 1900. And there are most often one or two vehicles often in service. Those are the decisions that the transit agency makes based on the traffic that they wanted to handle. Purple zones covers even larger area. Again, as you notice on the picture, you're familiar with this area, so it's not hard for you not to know what part of the city it is. And it has 133 virtual stops and operate from 1900 to 22:30, Monday to Saturday, and Sundays from 7 to 8 p.m. So that is the service. And most often it's 4 vehicles. I wrote 2 to 3 because sometimes we saw on Sunday, for example, was 2, but Kwaku again corrected me that most of the days is 4 vehicles. Another part to just look at it, this Marcus discussed soft launch the first 4 weeks.
Yes.
Yes.
I had a question on the slide previously.
Previous slide.
I get the orange and the purple. Now the green dots, maybe I missed that. What?
So the difference. So the different color, like the grayish, greenish dots that you see, those are the combined stops that both buses will stop at.
Oh.
So we kind of made like outside of it, you see like purple. So with it covering the orange zone, we made it a different color so that both buses can stop at that stop.
The way it's designed, all the stops of the orange also is stopped by purple at this point.
And the kind of the rectangle at the top, is that the Annapolis Mall?
Yes, that's the Annapolis Mall area plus some of like Housley Road too.
What is it again?
Housley Road.
Oh, Housley Road. Okay.
So we
The
go as-
Safeway and all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes. Safe is one of the virtues.
Bring something in there.
So it goes as far as the Safeway and Housley?
Yeah, one of the things that we've encompassed was back in 2018, we used to have the yellow route. So the purple route was the pickup for all those other routes, which incorporated the yellow. So it went down Housley around that area. So the purple still covers there. And now with the micro transit in the evenings, as Matthew said, from 7 to 10:30 at night, and all our Sundays and holidays, it will cover that area where the Safeway is on that side.
Okay.
So on
Right.
Sunday at 2, I could go from Morris Bloom to Dick's Sporting Goods
Yes.
by
Yes.
calling for $1.
Yes. Yes.
If I'm over 50, 60, for $1.
Yes,
For the scene, yeah, that's correct.
yes. It'll cover that whole service area.
So Saturday and Sunday I could do that.
On Saturday, only at 7 p.m. it starts.
Oh, but on Sunday,
But on Sunday, it's all day long. You can go anywhere on that map. So we go as far as Housley Road, far as to Gross, and down to a little past Bay Ridge John. So we cover everything up Forest Drive, downtown, everywhere.
so on Sunday you could go from your house to Dick's
Okay. Great.
for $2 a person. Thank you.
So the chart that I was describing, the first 3 weeks, these are just, we selected the month of August, July I threw out. And then the first week of September, which is last week, they're full weeks. The first 3 weeks were partial service. They were keeping some of the fixed bus to run in parallel until people get used to it. But the next 3 right now are the actual micro transit, micro mobility alone. And as you notice, the rate of adaptation or adopting the service is pretty fast. We are very happy to see that. If you notice, we are doing about 500 trips in the first week of September, even though Labor Day was in there. But the point is, we are doing very well with it, and we really wanted to expand it further and further to achieve much better than that. The 2 colors, one color, the blue, light blue represent orange ridership, and the purple represent the purple, or the darker blue represent the purple ridership.
And do we have data on what purple and orange did prior to
We
the
do, and
microtransit?
yeah, we do. And they submitted as a part of the National Transportation NTD, they have to do it. Those exist, and ours should be submitted as well. So yes, those data exist. Every quarter, they do quarter by quarter submission.
I do have ridership for orange and purple prior to starting, but I don't have it with me. So if you like that, I can get that to you.
I
Can you email
compared,
that to us?
Yes.
I compared. At this point, both orange and purple beat the previous, at least the quarter that I had access to, which was the first quarter. So now once we get a little bit into it, we do quarter over quarter, which is a much more precise comparison. But the one I had was for the first quarter of this, fiscal year, quarter 3 of the fiscal year, which is the first quarter of the calendar year 2024. So I had that to compare with this one, and we are beating both of them in the ridership.
Okay, so is this number, sorry, I didn't.
Oh, go ahead.
The 491 for last week, is that solely microtransit, or is that microtransit and the fixed route?
Solely microtransit. At this moment, the last 3 weeks, there has not been any fixed routes.
Okay.
Yeah, we stopped the orange and purple on Saturday, I want to say the 17th of August, because 18th of August was a Sunday. That was the first day of all microtransit, no purple, running in parallel as we're showing there. So yeah, these numbers past the 18th are all microtransit
So
numbers.
2 full weeks in August and 1 full week in September is presented there. This week is not included just because as a half week, we wanted to do by week.
And did we get any public comment about somebody standing at a bus stop waiting for purple and it not coming because they hadn't called it for microtransit?
No, we haven't had anybody complain. What I did was I had people riding around, helping out and educating as we was doing the service. So anybody that was standing, we helped them either get a ride, pick them up, take them where they was going, explain the service to them. So we left no one behind.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Right. I keep talking over your question, Alderman Savage.
You may have seen also, we hired a few high school students and we sent them here to sit on the sidewalk for a day and talk to everybody who could talk and tell them, have you downloaded the GoTime app? So we are trying everything that is possible and see what would produce better. And also the app has not only the star rating, has the email that people actually do write back to us the problem that they see, and we actually take them very seriously. We call them, we understand them more. To just tell you, it is not only Annapolis, this service becoming pretty popular across US. Next week in Stevensville, right up the road here, there is a Maryland Transportation Association of the Maryland, TAM, trade show, and Dr. Kwakwa and I would be presenting it to the other transit agencies in Maryland. And there are a bunch of the other ones that they're talking to us to do similar things. So we are making a showcase of it for other agencies in at least Maryland to begin looking at it. Yes, ma'am.
Rob Savage.
Oh, okay.
He's been waiting for
Well, so this is showing completed trips, but I'd like to see the data for actual ridership.
Okay.
Do you have that?
I have another slide. Well, this one actually is an interesting slide just because of the heat map.
More trips doesn't necessarily mean we have equal ridership or an increase in ridership. It could just be
Right, I see what
more
you're saying. A
individual trips.
repeat, you mean the repeat rider taken out? Is that what you mean?
And not just repeat, just how many people are using it. When
Right.
you make a trip, how many people are on
Which
there?
means
So I
if
think
somebody used it 3 or 4 times a week, count it as one. Is that what you mean?
No, because I want to be able to look to see how many people in the past used the orange and the purple bus ridership to see if we've actually have more people utilizing the microtransit than we had using the traditional bus system.
Right.
And you can't gauge that off that because that's just trips. That's not necessarily people. That doesn't mean it's more people.
No, I appreciate
Right?
what you're
So
saying.
do you have that information that you could provide?
I appreciate what you're saying. To just tell you why we went this direction, in transit systems, it's very common to measure performance by number of trip per hour per vehicle. That's why we all gonna go that direction. I think what you're asking is individuals as opposed to the trips.
Yeah, because if it's more trips, that as an
That
environmental
means we gotta go by-
scientist, it's not good for
we
the
gotta go by
environment because
their
it means
names and-
more exhaust, right? More emissions. So
we appreciate
I'm looking
that.
to see if it's an efficient system or not.
Yes, I can get you all that data.
All right.
I can get you
Thank
the comparisons and run everything down from start to where we at now.
Excellent.
And if possible, we can do a clean cut one for just September with nothing extra running. And I can get those numbers to you.
But one thing that you got to pay attention, the endemic problem with a fixed bus is you can't tell who is riding it because anybody who come and put $1 into the thing gets on and gets off. With this system, actually, because it is with reservation, we know the people and we can tell who is it, how many riders, how many ride each. In fact, we are looking into some machine learning process to learn the frequent users' pattern and possibly remind them, not only because it's a good thing for them, it's also good for the transit agency because we can perhaps do a better ride sharing if we know the people. Few minutes late or earlier booking causes us to do things that we would have not done if we would have known that person will be booking. So yes, these are very interesting comments. We would do that. And we are not interested, and as I said, we have all those details now. We know, in fact, people who book the ride and their actual residence is outside of those drawings, and we walk them into the drawing. So therefore, if the transit agency decide that they want to extend the edge a little bit to cover more, they can do that. So one of the area of interest for us is people who get rejected either due to being outside of the zone and see what their statistics are. And also those that they get rejected because they want the trip either later or earlier and we tell them, sorry, we can't do it, just the service has stopped. Again, for agencies to be able to decide whether they want to extend the time. So those are all the things that now with this type of tool become very easy to gather, is much, much more precise than a fixed bus. This chart shows you the heat map. Heat map is where most of the trips pickup or drop-offs are. And the chart actually shows the most active virtual stops, the top 30 of them. We don't do all 300, but as you notice, a lot of them are taking. This is for the month of August. If you notice, a lot of them has about 100 pickup or drop-offs at each location. So they're very active bus stops. And then there are areas that you see is a lot less. So that's again tells you where obviously the mall is one of the heated area. The downtown church circle is one of the very hot areas. But that's what you're seeing on this chart. And by the way, the bottom is where, as I said, transit agencies are always measure how many trips per vehicle per hour they perform. This one, again, helps a lot to know that perhaps in the morning you need only 2 vehicles, but around 8 a.m. you should add another one. A lot of these things become available to the transit agency for a better planning.
Sorry, what is DO?
Drop-off.
Drop-off and pickup, okay.
Pickups and drop-offs.
If I might add in with what we look at here is Matthew made mention, the 30 minutes is our guideline as far as making that reservation for when the bus will come. And that's probably what our time for a whole trip would be with an orange or a brown or a red. So 30 to 45 minutes.
Orange is 45.
45 minutes. So we're beating that, but the average time someone is waiting is a lot less than 30. What would you say that is, about 12 to 15 minutes?
Probably between 10 to 15, probably between 10 to 15 minutes.
From the time they make their...
From the time they book their trip. And on Sundays, the Purple Bus usually average a time of 1 hour and 15. So with 3 or 4 buses out there, we cut that way down.
Remembering with the Purple, it's the pickup for all the other routes. So you have a Purple North, and you had a Purple North and Purple South. So in the evenings, it wasn't so bad from 7 o'clock. You know, most people were home from work till, the 10:30 or so. But on a Sunday afternoon, we're covering the whole city for more than 12 hours, those 2 buses. And from start to finish, it was 1 hour and 15 minutes. So we're giving ourselves 30, but the average time from the time they do it on their mobile device or call our office. And as Matthew mentioned, the countdown, your bus is here, and you can see it traveling to you or the countdown when your bus should arrive. The driver will also know that John Doe is supposed to be picking up right here. That's all they're going to know is John Doe picking up and where they're actually going, and they will accept that trip. So we're really excited about the wait time. Remember, the on-demand microtransit is going places where people want to go, when they want to go, versus running a fixed. I think we'll always need that fixed route, but the supplemental in there is really the beneficial part that I think we've made a big headway, the success story.
There is a lot of study being done comparing fixed bus services with a variety of other services. The main arteries being served by fixed bus is, you can't beat it. It's just going up and down a main road between several hot spots. 10 to 12 or more trips per hour can take place. But the trouble with similar thing in like orange or purple is you go to visit 40 stops, but really, as you noticed here, no more than 1/5 of them produce 80% of the trips. But nevertheless, you have to visit all of them because you don't know somebody would be there or not. Microtransit solves that problem, only visits places that there is a demand or there is a drop-off. And as a result, the performance comes up without any harm to those stops that nobody is booking or reserving at it. So there is a lot of work we are doing even with academic environments on figuring out what is the right thing to do. And Annapolis, in my view, and particularly for this type of service that covers a very large area, but the city is still pretty nicely confined, is a very proper service, and that's why I call it microtransit, is a public transit that makes sense for certain routes. And this is one of those that I personally believe it makes a lot of sense. Any question on this job?
Thank you, Alderwoman. You mentioned that you're going to a TEDCO conference in Stevensville?
No, the conference.
A trade show?
Transportation Association of Maryland, TAM, in short.
Oh, okay.
It is the association of all transit agencies of Maryland. Every county has one, cities have sometimes one. So those all create an association, they get together, share experience, and they invite vendors to present and show what they have and they can use. So they share experience. In this case, Dr. Kwakwa and I would be sharing Annapolis experience with others to say, this is what we have done, this is how it works, take a look at it. In fact, there is a discussion I'm having with what they call Regional Transportation Association, the Regional Transportation, RTA, which is right Laurel, Maryland, between Anne Arnold and Howard County. Howard County has put the RFP out. They want to cover the edge of the Howard County, and actually part of it comes to Anne Arnold County. So those are the type of thing people do with microtransit.
Okay. If it's authorized by our chairwoman, I'd like to hear a report back from you as to how you made out and what the reception was regarding
We
what we're
definitely
doing.
will do that, and
But the chairwoman has to approve.
Of course.
Yeah, to give you a little more background, TAM, Transportation Association of Maryland, has been around 25 years. We've been members here for as long as I can remember, and other agencies I've been with within the state, you're members of it. There's 23 what they call locally operated transit systems in the state of Maryland, which we, as well as Anne Arundel County, are members of. We get monies from, grant monies from MDOT, MTA. So as far northwest of Cumberland, Maryland, down to Ocean City, they have an annual conference trade show that Matthew's talking about. It's in Stevensonville. And there are a lot of classes, training, symposiums that we'll all be a part of. Mr. Parker, Mr. Abraham, and a few others, our office, are going. And it's a good way to share information, learn. So they'll be making a presentation there as well. Some other counties that are larger, like Prince George's County and Montgomery County, do have other microtransit on-demand services, as well as Anne Arundel, mainly in South County. The Deal, Edgewater, others that will bring them in. And it's the way to go because there's not a need to run a fixed route, regular service, burning gas to take one or two people and just keep going in a circle. So the on-demand in certain areas like that are hugely successful. So we look forward to, the presentation that they'll be making and, sharing other ideas. And this is something that we're glad that we got your support for, doing this. And a lot of the money was upfront, but will be self-sufficient for at least the next 2 fiscal years. That'll be part of our operating expense. And remember, as this pilot, we want to, mushroom out a little bit more to cover some areas that you guys may have made mention to me, which may be, along the corridor of Harbor House and other areas to get to other places that may be deemed a food desert, that we can get them to other places around. But that's the exciting news we want to share with you. We've only been in operation since July 15th, and it's really used quite a bit in the training that these guys did under the direction of Superintendent Parker with Matthew's whole team. They met us every step along the way, and we found some glitches that we were able to fix when we were, trying it out. But we want to encourage you guys to come with us, and we can have other trips like we did back in October of last year. Not just to share the other services, but these and the travel training, the travel portion of it, to show that this is a viable option, and try to get some of those cars off the street. That is a viable option.
Particularly the parking too, because I think I'm gonna, from now on, when I come to Annapolis, I'm gonna park on the side and take a microtransit to the city.
So I have a couple questions, and so first of all, I guess, could you explain the role of your company in this whole process?
In this case, we provide the technology. What you saw app, the call center, the dispatch center, the one that you see in the office, Jamar and other can see where the buses are, what do they do. Assigning vehicle, assigning driver to the routes on daily basis, weekly basis, or whatever else you may have. All the way up to, and is a software as a service, which means it's a cloud. They don't have to have anything in their office except the monitor, web-based monitor to look at things. So that's our business. We have been doing it for many counties and states in the United States, but now we are happy to be doing it for Annapolis.
Okay, well, good. And so you're the right person to ask this question. Why don't we have an Android app?
We do have both. Sorry, the Android app, no, you do have it, except that it's coming from our cloud as opposed to the Android
It
market.
doesn't work. It's not in the App Store for Android.
Correct.
And when you go to the website, you can download the APK file, but it's often my phone doesn't let me open it, for example.
When you go to the Annapolis website and you click on that, the Android doesn't download. I like to look at it.
So why is it not in the Android store?
The trouble is the Android market has become a little bit paranoid on accepting new apps, and they go through a very long process of verification and things of that nature. So we are going through that process with them. It's a new thing. They were the most easy one to deal with, and iOS was the hard one. Now they have switched. Something has happened that they have gone through this corner. It would be fixed within the next few weeks.
Well, when are you able to get the Android app working?
As I said, we are thinking within the next few weeks we would complete it.
Okay, well, I'll be frank, it's disappointing. You know, we've launched this brand new program.
Right.
I'm trying to get people to use it. I've sent it out, but I can't even download the app. We have a huge number of residents who can't use the app. And unfortunately, that's going to hurt usership of this program, the success of this program. I mean, it looks like it's already been successful, but if people, when it launches, can't even download the app, that's a failure. So, I mean,
I agree with you.
Frankly, I'm surprised that we need to be having a higher standard that should have been taken care of and checked prior to launch. So I'd like to know more than just a week or 2 or 3 as far as when it's going to get fixed.
I'll send you some data because I do see, because we do have the type of app users that they are booking trips. It might have been something specific because some have been successful. If you go to the website of the Annapolis and download, it does download. So I got to watch out to see what is particularly your issue, because there may be a number of people who have that problem. We got to find out what that is.
Yeah, please do look into it. Don't get me wrong, I like this program. I think it's very innovative. I really support your efforts on this.
No, that was an unfortunate event. You're absolutely correct. We were very disappointed, and we are fighting the process with Android Play Store.
Future phases, I've already mentioned this to the director. I would love to see it expanded to Edgewood Road at some point to service the senior population we have down there. Anything you need from us, let us know whenever you have future phases. Oh, and the other idea I had was another possible expansion on Riva Road. Might want to reach out to the county to partner with them. Because I think there'd be value in having that connect down with the business district on, I guess you call it, I guess it's right around Truman Parkway, county buildings, as well as the Riva Shopping Center. Make sure we can get people out there. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Thank you for inviting us. And I'll be happy to be back and report to you every month or quarter, whatever you want, on what we've done more.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Further questions?
Thank you.
No further questions.
All right. We appreciate your time coming out and everybody else staying around to hear the reports. Thank you all. Do you have anything else, Marcus, for?
No, that was our presentations for today. But if you have any other questions for us, we have some things for our next meeting next month, other updates as they relate to our TDP and all, but I can share with that in
Being a
October.
local company, Annapolis is our playground, so we come for fun on the weekend. Now, sometimes for work is fine too. So a lot of our engineers are coming here weekends for festivals or whatever else they have in here, which is a fun place.
Thank you. Anything else for the good of the order?
Nothing from me.
Oh,
I move to postpone AP
22.
22.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved.
All right.
Great.
Motion to adjourn?
Oh, motion to adjourn, yes.
So moved. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great.
All right.
So, Marcus,